The latest announcement about Spinal Tap 2, Rob Reiner's long-awaited sequel to his mock-rockumentary classic This Is Spinal Tap, is a worrying sign, but it still sounds like a lot of fun. Reiner has reassembled Christopher Guest as Nigel Tufnell, Michael McKean as David St. Hubbins, and Harry Shearer as Derek Smalls for a new Spinal Tap movie just in time for the 40th anniversary of the comedy classic. In addition to the returning lead trio, Reiner is reprising his own role as Marty D. Berge, the director of the original mockumentary, for the highly anticipated Legacy sequel. Just as This Is Spinal Tap lampooned rock docs of the time like The Last Waltz and the song remains the same, Spinal Tap 2 will surely take satirical aim at modern music documentaries and old-school rock bands who continue to perform well into their twilight years. While it's certainly exciting that Reiner and company are reuniting for a sequel to This Is Spinal Tap, it's also a dubious prospect, because comedy sequels rarely live up to the original. The latest update on Spinal Tap 2 is cause for concern, but it could still turn out great. This Is Spinal Tap 2 has lined up a lot of A-list cameos. Reiner recently released a tongue-in-cheek statement about Spinal Tap 2, via Empire, confirming that D. Berge would be taking a sabbatical from his position as a visiting professor's assistant at the Ed Wood School of Cinematic Arts to shoot another documentary with Spinal Tap. The sequel will be filming in New Orleans, and will follow the band reuniting for one last contractually obligated tour. This update on the sequel's production came with the announcement of an impressive lineup of A-list celebrity cameos, including such icons as Paul McCartney and Elton John. The sequel will also feature Questlove, Garth Brooks, and Trisha Yearwood. While it's exciting that so many famous faces will be popping up in Spinal Tap 2, it's an ominous sign that the sequel will be substituting celebrity cameos for jokes. The original Spinal Tap movie had a few celebrity cameos, but not from famous musicians playing themselves. It was mostly popular comedians of the time playing scene-stealing supporting roles, like Fran Drescher as Bobby Fleckman, Billy Crystal as Morty the Mime, and Fred Willard as Air Force Lieutenant Bob Hookstraten. Spinal Tap 2 might be relying too much on celebrity cameos. Christopher Guest shows Rob Reiner his guitar in a scene from This Is Spinal Tap. With so many famous musicians lined up to appear in Spinal Tap 2, the sequel might be relying too much on celebrity cameos and not enough on its own original jokes. This Is Spinal Tap didn't need cameos from Black Sabbath or the Rolling Stones for its satire of the rock and roll business to land as beautifully as it did. Without being able to lean on cameoing icons, This Is Spinal Tap had to rest on the strengths of its gags and its fictional characters alone. Take Zoolander 2, for example. It's one of the most painfully unfunny belated comedy sequels ever made, the kind of movie Spinal Tap 2 needs to desperately avoid becoming, and it has 10 times as many celebrity cameos as it does genuine laughs. Zoolander 2 has cameos from Katy Perry, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Naomi Campbell, Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, Skrillex, Susan Boyle, A$AP Rocky, MC Hammer, Anna Wintour, Mark Jacobs, Kate Moss, Katie Couric, Matt Lauer, Willie Nelson, Susan Sarandon, Lewis Hamilton, Joe Jonas, and Stephen Hawking. Spinal Tap 2 is at risk of becoming the next Zoolander 2. This Is Spinal Tap 2 cameos could still be great. Spinal Tap playing a concert. While the rampant celebrity cameos in Spinal Tap 2 are a discouraging sign, it's best to give Reiner the benefit of the doubt and not jump to conclusions. Just because Spinal Tap 2 has a few celebrities poking fun at themselves, it doesn't mean it'll automatically be as awful as Zoolander 2. If the entire Spinal Tap team is reuniting for a sequel, it's probably because they've come up with an idea that's great enough to live up to the original. It might not be the next Zoolander 2, it could be comedy's Top Gun, Maverick. Plus, celebrity cameos aren't always a bad sign. The cameos in Spinal Tap 2 could be a delight. The prospect of a musical legend like Paul McCartney parodying himself in a mock rock doc, or Elton John rubbing shoulders with Nigel Tufnell, is too great to pass up. Even if the sequel isn't as brilliant or groundbreaking as the first one, it'll undoubtedly be a lot of fun.